This is a story about how sometimes the greatest gifts are those that are given, and sometimes the greatest gifts are those that are received. And that's really the beauty of it. It's not so much the thing. The thing is really immaterial. It's that sense of being able to give somebody a gift, and how important that is to give, oftentimes give of yourself to another person. And also, you know, a lesson that my father, a priest, once taught me. It was a very important lesson. I shared this with David. You know, sometimes the most important gift that you can give to another person is being gracious enough to accept the gift that they're giving you. And that's the idea that we're going for in this play.
But then, of course, it includes lots of good songs, lots of fun. It's a story of humans that come to the North Pole and visit the elves and see what life's like a little bit after Santa Claus has left the building. And it's a fun, neat family excitement, entertainment for the whole family, and because it involves the family.
It's been so long since we've done an original work here, and generally, you know, I've always been reluctant to do original work simply because of the unknown factors involved in producing an original work. Often going in with unproven material, you know, we're not in a position where we can, you know, eat a loss or have a whiff the way we're set up. But there's a difference between doing an original material of something that's completely unproven and taking, you know, essentially what is proven, you know, good music that's already been produced, but also being able to do it entirely in-house where we have intimate interaction, you know, with one another as creators of the work and all of that. It seemed like a good environment to do it. I mean, we've got a very positive, working, creative environment in this building. And that's one of the things that I'm glad we're collaborating on this for.
And the issue was, I guess, from a historical standpoint, I had seen a version of this show, not this show, but a version using these songs, and I knew the musical director who had created these songs. And although I hated that book, I said, well, what if we did a musical? And this is where we sort of snuck in this third musical that we don't like to talk about because we don't do musicals. And so we had the music, and I think we started with the title.
Yeah,
because we had to have a title to announce our season brochure.
we had a title and a logo and said, well, there we go. First of all, we had to both think about Christmas stories that spoke to us. What is it that we always get out of various Christmas stories? And as we both thought about it, we were both attracted to the same kinds of stories. I mean, we're both big fans of A Charlie Brown Christmas and A Christmas Story, and of course, It's a Wonderful Life. And we said, well, what's the common theme and thread of that? And it's about community and giving and being a part of something that makes the world a better place. Each one of those have that common theme. And that's really what Christmas is all about. So we said, okay, how do we take that theme and those ideas and put it in entertaining formats so that you're not getting some over-commercialized, you know, happy Christmas carol that's meant to sell a product or an idea about, you know, presence, and rather something that talks about the universal themes of togetherness and joy and giving.
And we wanted to break cliches.
Yeah.
We said, you know, there's this, you can go to Hallmark Channel and you can watch the same story every day with a different actor. It's like you know, cut and paste, Reader's Digest, word processed scripts. And we said, what can we do with that? And so we kind of just explored some options, and then we thought of locales. And what we did is each morning for quite some time, we just gathered and said, hey, what do you think? And where are you going? And we would just feed off each other.
Ideas.
I mean, at this point, it's like I'm hard-pressed to say who thought of what.
Yeah.
It was just, it was just this nebulous, mutually shared grounds where we just were flowing.
You know, very early on, we wanted to tell this story, and it kind of came in with this question that David came into me one morning, and he peeks around my cubicle, and he goes, what happens at the North Pole when Santa leaves? And I went, oh, well, okay, well, there's the genesis of the idea. And so it almost started with this idea of, well, Santa's away, the elves will play. Yeah. And so from there, we started to develop this idea of you know, not necessarily a new idea, but still an interesting idea.
Right.
And from there, that's where we wanted to bring in these themes of, okay, how do we relate this back to those themes that we had talked about? And it became very simple from there on. So from that point on, starting with that very basic question of what happens, you know, at the North Pole when Santa leaves, suddenly the rest of the ideas started to snowball, if you forgive the pun, started to snowball from there and develop.
The other thing that also came into play is that being both of us being, professional theater with advanced studies and things like that, we knew what made a well-made play. And so we would look at, well, structurally, what do we need? Conceptually, as both directors, what do we want? Budget-wise, what can we get away?
Always important.
We worked, all this became this stew pot of creativity to kind of find solutions. And then one of the things that I think was early on was established, we wanted multi-generational. We had, even before the success of Wizard of Oz, we knew that the multi-generational work of It's a Wonderful Life was such a special experience and important to community theater that we said, what can we do to capture that? And that prompted our World of Elves, and then prompted humans and the intermingling that we have coming up.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So tell me, was it this kind of banter that...
Actually, we visit like this daily.
Yeah.
Every day we'll have a few minutes or an hour sometimes, and we just talk about all kinds of wild and crazy things.